What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome on into FTN NBA Live for today, December 10th. I'm Tom, he's Javi, and we are here to break down this very sizable. We got a good chunk of NBA games on the Friday night slate tonight. Javi, are you excited?
I am excited. Yeah, it's a fun slate. It's going to be an over-owned Charlotte and Sacramento game, but guys, just because it's over-owned doesn't mean it's a bad play. So we'll talk about it. I'm on the side of playing the game, but it's a fun one, man. Happy Friday to everyone. Happy Friday to you, Tom. Thank you for all your hard work as always, and thanks for subbing in.
Oh, my pleasure. Of course, I'm filling in today as our host, David Jones, Tenacious D Jones himself. He is still a little bit bedridden from his kidney stone surgery. David, we hope if you're watching, which quite frankly, I hope you're not. I hope you're getting some rest. I hope you're feeling good right now, but we wish you a speedy recovery. Get well soon.
Yeah, for sure. And he wrote today's article. He's a trooper. I told him, I was like, listen, I got it. I've been trying to cover for David, but he's like, I need to take my mind off this. Now he couldn't take his mind off it with the show, but he wrote today's article and he likes the slate. So
it's a good slate tonight. We got plenty of games on the offering, starting with that Sacramento versus Charlotte game that you said is going to be a little over-owned. Tell me, why do you think that is, and who are the players that you think that people are really going to be interested in? Because you got, looking right at this game, LaMelo Ball out, Terry Rozier out, Ish Smith out. That's a big name and a couple other decent-sized names right off the board. Are you going with Fox? Oh, where are you going on this one?
Yeah, so it's the battle of two fast-paced teams and two bad defenses. So it's a recipe for DFS success. The Hornets still have no LaMelo Ball, no Rozier, no Plumlee, everybody. PJ Washington's now doubtful. So, they take a big hit defensively. They're already pretty bad defensively. And then Sacramento, they've just been awful defensively. And then they lost Richaun Holmes, who isn't a top defensive guy. But again, you have Alex Len and Tristan Thompson. We got news that Alex Len is starting. He's 3,100 on DraftKings. Yeah, Tom, I want to play, 5, 6, 7 guys from this game, but it's a big slate. It is going to be over-owned, but I think it's great chalk. I mean, across the board, somebody's going to have to pick up. I understand Sacramento's very inconsistent in their scoring, but they're not great defensively. And we saw the Orlando and Sacramento game blow up out of proportion. And it just I don't see how this game doesn't blow up either. It's just two teams that are injured, two teams that play fast, two teams that don't know how to play defense. I'm all over it. From the Sacramento side, I'll touch on it real quick, and then we can talk about the Charlotte side. I think Halliburton is severely underpriced. I like him a lot. Davion Mitchell, he's 3,400 on DraftKings. He's underpriced, and he's going to get some good minutes. I've been playing Terrence Davis for the last 2 weeks, and he's only 4K and in a great spot, potentially 30 minutes also. I mentioned Alex Len. I mentioned Tristan Thompson. I prefer Tristan Thompson over Alex Len. I think he's got more of a ceiling, but both are fine. Tristan Thompson, 3,500 on DK. Alex Len, 3,200 on DK, I think it is. So, all these guys are great salary reliefs. And then De'Aaron Fox, I don't like his play this year. He's been struggling a little bit. I know people have been saying it's similar to what he's done last year. But for me, I think he's got a ceiling here, but I'm a little hesitant on him because of his price. I love this game from top to bottom, and I love the Sacramento guys. I can rank it for you, Tom, but let me take a deep breath and see what
sounds good. You take a deep breath. I will say the Sacramento Kings, it looks like they are on the verge of a rebuild here. They scraped and clawed their way through last season, but they were very clearly not a team on the ascent. And this year so far, it has all fallen apart. They've looked very listless. But like you said, they are a team that can shoot, as is the Charlotte team. And it's reflected in the totals for this game. Vegas thinks this is going to be a lot of scoring. It's the highest total on the board by a pretty wide margin at 231, open 227.5 around town. Now the consensus line here in Vegas is 231. The closest other games on the board, Brooklyn and Atlanta and Milwaukee, Houston. But even then, no one's cracking above 230 except for this game. And for fantasy owners, that means that it's going to be the one you want to target, of course.
Yeah, and Sacramento, they've allowed 115 or more points in 6 of their last 7 games. This team is not good defensively. They play very fast. They're not great. And then if you go back to Charlotte, I believe this is the third game now without LaMelo Ball, Rozier, because of COVID and COVID protocols. They've allowed 110 or more points, but it's been 110, 127, 127, 127. Like they've allowed 127 three times in a row before that last game where they allowed 110. Then before that, if you go even further back, 133, 146. Like both these teams allow a shit ton of points, Tom. So yeah, I mean, I don't hate having 5, maybe 6 pieces from this. It's going to be an over-owned game. If you want to play the ownership game, fine, but just know you're running into the risk. And our boy David Jones, he loves this game too. You know, if I have to rank it, I prefer Tristan Thompson over Alex Len, even though Len is starting. I think they're both fine. You know, you can do 2 lineups. You can do one with Thompson, one with Len. One of them is going to get potentially 25, 30 DK points. Maybe they both do. But these guys are going to split the center minutes at 48 minutes. I love Halliburton. I think he's a phenomenal play. Terrence Davis is the other guy that I really love. Davion Mitchell, if you need a punt at 3,400, he's fine too. I mean, these guys from top to bottom, I'm not going to talk you off any of these guys because this is a great matchup.
Worth pointing out some trends in it. A little bit of conflicting trends here because the under is 5-1-1 in the Kings' last 7 games as a road favorite, but that's also, they're not road favorites very often. The over 4-1 in their last 5 road games straight up. And you take that over looking at Charlotte, it's 6-0-1 in Charlotte's last 7 overall. Both very good signs that this game is going to be as high scoring as we think, and they're not going to come out and have a dud on us here.
Yeah, no, for sure. And again, Sacramento is on, you know, a guy I didn't mention, Harrison Barnes. He's potentially going to get 30 plus minutes here. He's priced down at 5,300. He's another great play. I mean, again, I hate to talk you off of it, but my favorite guys, if I have to list a favorite, it's going to be Halliburton. I think he's got a true ceiling and he's too cheap. It's going to be Terrence Davis. I'm going to chase that recent play by him. I think he's a phenomenal play. And then the other guy is probably having one of Tristan Thompson or Alex Len. For me, it's Tristan Thompson, but I don't hate going either one. But again, I listed 6 Kings, and you can play all 6 if you want. I wouldn't do that in one lineup, but definitely have exposure to them.
Are we ready to move on to the next game on the board, do you think?
Well, we didn't talk about Charlotte. So real quick about Charlotte.
There we go.
So, yeah, that's big. So again, they have just as good of a matchup as Sacramento does. And there's usage open across the board. So Kelly Oubre, I think he's a phenomenal play. He's 7,800. He's priced up a little bit, but this guy, he's gotten 41 minutes, 43 minutes, 39 minutes. This guy's going to play 40 plus minutes again in a plus matchup against Sacramento as long as it stays close. Even if it blows out, I think he can still get the minutes. But Kelly Oubre is probably my favorite guy here at 7,800. Miles Bridges has not seen a usage increase since all the injuries happened. But he's also another guy who's seen 43 minutes, 2 straight games. He's not done well though. Like, just keep that in mind. Again, his ceiling, we haven't seen a true ceiling from him, and he shot well last game, going 8 for 13. It's just, the peripheral stats are not there for Miles Bridges, but I like Miles Bridges. I like Gordon Hayward. I think they're both fine. David wrote up Cody Martin. I think he is too cheap again. Another piece that I love there. But for me, I'm going to focus on probably 2 guys here. It's going to be Kelly Oubre and Miles Bridges. Those are the guys that I want. Hayward had a ceiling game last game, but that's not a guy that I'm going to play here. So
now, if you were assembling a roster, and how many players would you kind of be targeting in this game if you had to pick like your personal favorites here, or is that kind of not the right question?
5? I'd play 5. I'm good with the 3 Kings that I mentioned and the 2 Hornets I mentioned too. And I think that's fine. We're still waiting on some news today. Anthony Davis is questionable, late questionable too. We're waiting on DeAndre Ayton. We need news on him. So I wouldn't go too crazy, but it's still a game that I absolutely love.
All right. Well, 3 Kings and 2 Hornets. That's kind of a full house, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Moving on to Dallas versus Indiana. This game significantly lower on the total. It's set in Vegas at 213. Indiana, a 2-point favorite in this contest. So we're hoping here for a close game that keeps the scoring tight, and hopefully these offenses can get out in front of it. Who on the Dallas side are you looking at? Of course, we have our injuries for this game. Whole lot of people are actually healthy for this one. TJ Warren, McConnell, and Drew Holiday. They are the headlines on the out. Willie Cauley-Stein also out, and we're waiting on news about Brown, but that's about it. Mostly healthy here, and of course, Luka Doncic headlines this game.
Yeah, and again, I don't love this match. Indiana is actually they're pretty solid defensively. They will allow over 100 points, which they have done 100 or more points in 6 straight games. But again, I don't like picking on Indiana, even though they have been struggling a little bit on defense. I think Sabonis is too much. Brogdon is too much. We saw a ceiling game from Duarte. I don't think we're going to see it again. There's not anybody I really like from the Indiana side, even though, the matchup is better for Indiana against Dallas. From the Dallas side, I don't think I'm going to get to Luka tonight or Porzingis or any of these guys. I think everyone's priced appropriately. If you are going to play someone, it would be Luka because he's got a true ceiling here, but it's not the best of matchups for Luka Doncic here. Going against Indiana, he's probably going to see Malcolm Brogdon on defense. Again, Luka is matchup proof, so it's fine, but this is not a game that I love, Tom.
Yeah, if you're spending the $11,000 to get Luka in this contest, that's what's listed at on DraftKings at least. Yeah. You would prefer to be paying that money for a game where you're getting a great matchup.
Yeah, and I prefer Giannis at $100 less. So
exactly, and there you go. We will cover that game in just a minute here when we get on to Milwaukee. Any other Pacers players you might be interested in? You mentioned Sabonis. Anything else, or is this just a move on?
Nah, it's a game that I crossed out. Malcolm Brogdon, Sabonis, they're just priced accordingly. It's just not a game that I really love. I mean, it's a better matchup for Indiana here, but like I said, Indiana has been allowing points. If you think Luka can have a ceiling game, make it happen. But I mean, Giannis has just got an amazing matchup against Houston tonight. It's just a matter if they don't blow him out. If it's not a blowout, Giannis is going to be optimal, most likely. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, it's not a game I love, Tom.
All right, well then let's move right on to Brooklyn versus Atlanta, because that's a game that you should be a little more excited about here. The total for it, 228 straight up, opened at 224, so it's been bet up. And that means the market really likes this game to go live at a high number here. Atlanta favored by 2 in this contest. And of course, we do still have some injuries here. Kyrie Irving, well, we already know that story. But it looks like Kevin Durant going to play. At the very least, he's not listed as out yet.
Yeah. Kevin Durant's going to play. He was just resting last game. So because of that, I'm not really on Kevin Durant or James Harden. I think they're priced appropriately. I do think Kevin Durant is too cheap. And Atlanta has struggled defensively. So I think there is some sneakiness behind one of the 2 spend up here for this team. But I mean, I just prefer other matchups and under spend ups better, even though Atlanta has struggled defensively. The ancillary pieces I'm not really on either for Brooklyn. If you want to take a shot at Kevin Durant, if you're doing 20 lineups, I say definitely get like 1 or 2 shares of Durant, 1 or 2 shares of Harden and move on. But it's not something that I'm focusing on. It's not my focus here. It's going to be a great game. Like I said, the defense for Atlanta is not what it was last year. The piece that I love here, and people are going to come at me with fire, Tom, is because Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish is going to play today. It's not confirmed yet. He's probable. He's missed the last few games with a wrist injury, but he said he plans on playing on Friday. He gets a boost here. There's no Bogdanovich. There's no Bogdan Bogdanovich. There's no DeAndre Hunter still. So for me, I think Cam Reddish at 3,200, he could potentially see 30 minutes here. Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot has been the guy who's been getting the big bump in minutes. He's seen 38 minutes and 39 minutes in his last 2 games respectively. And I mean, you can definitely score on Brooklyn. They've gotten better defensively. It's not the walk in the park that they were last year, but for me, Cam Reddish is the guy that I like here. And just as we say that, we get the notification he'll play off the bench on Friday. I still like him. I think he's gonna see a big boost here, and he's the guy that I really want to focus on here.
I mean, Reddish, that's a cheap option there at 3,200 comparatively to some of these other guys. And if he's going to be getting that many minutes, that's a great sign.
Yeah.
I definitely see why you're excited about that. And it's all about finding those guys on the bottom half of the slate that are going to be the role players that pop off for you. And in a game like this, where the total's expected to be high, got to take them.
Yeah, no, for sure. Again, the spend ups, I just prefer Giannis as a pure spend up, or getting the Sacramento and Charlotte guys really as spend up options. So I'm not really on Durant or Harden or Trae Young or Capella or Collins. I think they're all priced appropriately. Again, my focus is the cheaper pieces. Luwawu Cabarrot is going to start again. I don't think you'll see 38, 39 minutes again, but Cam Reddish is in play. He's going to get some big minutes. I like him a lot.
All right. Well, heading on over to the New York Knickerbockers versus the Toronto Raptors. This is another game. You're looking at not a whole lot of names on the injury report. Dragic is out. Johnson's out. But overall, do you like anyone in this contest? Because it's going to be a very low-scoring game if Vegas has anything to say about it. The lowest total on the board here at 207.5 right now, open 209.5. Toronto 1.5-point favorites.
Yeah, so that's surprising that they're favorites. For me, we did get news now that Precious Achiuwa is out. Chris Boucher is likely going to start. So at 4K, he got 22 minutes last game. Obviously, we know that the coach does not like Chris Boucher, but he's a high point per minute guy. He should be chalky again. I'm going to play Chris Boucher. That's my top play for this. He's the guy that I'm going to focus on. It's going to be chalky, but it's the play that I want here. And it's what I'm going to really focus on. You mentioned the total. So because of that total, I don't like it. Yeah, it's going to be a close game. Yes, both defenses, Toronto surprisingly has played some good defense. New York has not played good defense this year, but for me, it's just focusing on Boucher and moving on, really.
Yeah, I see that this is a game you're not really going to want a ton of exposure against when you've got an implied total that low. I will say Toronto, New York, actually, little bit stout against some of those guys. They rank 5th in opposing fantasy points to guys like Boucher, but hey, if you're going to pick someone from this lineup, you can go a lot worse at $4,000, right?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, Boucher is going to be chalk. He is 4K, but given the point per minute guy that he is, yeah, he saw 22 minutes. Yes, he had 23 DK points. It's not going to win you a GPP play. But yeah, I think Boucher is still a fine play. I know people are talking about not playing him, but he's the guy that I still want from this game. Again, I'm not going to be like 100% on Boucher, but I'm going to play quite a bit at 4K for him. So,
all right. Well, then moving on to Milwaukee versus the Rockets. This is a game that is very much in the eye for Vegas here. 227 is the total. Milwaukee expected to blow out the reigning NBA win streak champion, Houston Rockets. 9 points, the number right now for Milwaukee in this one. And Giannis is your favorite play. You got some of these guys. Kevin Porter Jr.'s out. Brook Lopez, Jalen Green, Dante DiVincenzo. But overall, Giannis is the big spend up that you like in the spot.
Yeah, I mean, he's in my opinion, I think he's too cheap for this matchup. When we were talking earlier, I thought Giannis was priced at 12K. I did not realize he was 10.9. It's just a price that I love here. He's the guy that I'm focusing on in this game. He's the guy that I'm going to play a ton of, mainly because of the matchup against Houston here. Again, Houston, they're going to be without some key pieces here. It's not a team that allows a ton of points, surprisingly. I mean, against Charlotte, yeah, they allowed 143, but before that, 104 against Brooklyn, which is a great team, 108 against the Pelicans, 116 against Orlando, 110 against OKC. So, I mean, Houston just plays slower, but Giannis is just a point-per-minute monster. Nobody on Houston can cover this guy. Yeah, full steam ahead on Giannis for me today. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on. I mean, again, from the Houston side, it's not much. You can see, Tom, what I like from this slate and why I like this slate is there's like one or two pieces that I like from each game, and then I move on. So
Exactly. That makes perfect sense. You want to kind of get a wider variety and really really have some exposure all across the board, especially on a larger slate like this. So picking a few pieces out of this game makes a lot of sense, especially you look at the matchup is obviously great. Yes, Houston's been on that run, but they're the 26th best defense in the league compared to Milwaukee's 9th best offense. The rebounds, especially when you have a guy like Giannis helping you out there, they are the best rebounding team. They're going to get a lot of second chance points. And Houston, the 20th best rebounding team. It just all makes sense here and aligns for a good Giannis game.
Yeah, for sure. It's a great matchup. He's got the highest ceiling on the slate, and that's why I don't want to, that's why I don't want to focus on any of the other spend ups besides Giannis, really. So
that makes a lot of sense. Moving on, Karl Anthony Towns going to be the big spend up in Cleveland versus Minnesota. And any interest there? This game, taking a look at the total, it's going to be at 213.5. So another very low scoring game projected for the docket here. Not a lot of guys out, but is there anyone I can interest you
in? Cleveland, Minnesota, right? Sorry, I was reading something. Is
yes.
that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah. So Minnesota's most likely not going to have D'Angelo Russell. So like Herm said in Discord earlier, and I'm on the same boat, is I'm going back to Anthony Edwards. Yes, Cleveland has been very solid defensively. Yes, it's a low total, but D'Angelo Russell out does open up usage for both Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is going to be my focus from the Minnesota side. And then the way that you beat Minnesota, even with their improved defense, is through the center. Like Karl Anthony Towns could not play defense still for the life of him. So I love Jared Allen. I think Jared Allen is a phenomenal play. He's finally priced under 10K or 10K, under 8K. Apologies. I hope he's under 10K. But so I like Jared Allen a lot here in this spot going against Minnesota. Again, I don't want to. I think Evan Mobley, he's too cheap at 6,800, but he's a guy that, he can easily crush you. We saw a ceiling game from him last time, and at his price, we would love for him to throw up another 40 burger. But Jared Allen's the guy that I want here. He's been playing, 32 plus minutes in 4 straight games. He's got a legit ceiling. There's some upside here, especially going against Minnesota. So that's why I want to focus around there. Darius Garland is a guy that I really haven't played all year. And again, he's going to have one of the tougher matchups on this team. But for me, he's got a true ceiling. I mean, he's coming off 2 straight 50 plus DK point games here. Not 2 straight, but 3-4 games ago, that's what he had. But again, even against Chicago in a tough matchup in which they blew him out, he still had almost 40 DK points. So at 7,300, I think Darius Garland is a phenomenal play. I'll have more exposure than I like because of the low total here, Tom. But again, Anthony Edwards from Minnesota, and then from Cleveland, it'd be mainly Jared Allen, but I'll have some sprinkles of Evan Mobley and Darius Garland here.
Shifting on over to the Lakers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oh, I'm sure that this will be just an absolutely wonderful to watch basketball game. Yeah. But the total is at 218. The Lakers are 4.5-point favorites in this spot. LeBron James still questionable. Anthony Davis, like you said, we're still waiting on news if he's going to play. Any news, anything of note over the last couple of minutes on those two guys? And who else would you be looking at?
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Davis, again, I hate to say he's more likely out than in just because we've seen it this year where, he's listed as questionable. He still plays. LeBron James is probable, so he'll probably play here. I want to play. Again, I don't want to focus on Russell Westbrook. I do think that his ceiling is lower with LeBron James in as opposed to Anthony Davis in. So, like, if LeBron was out, then I'd say, yeah, load up on Russell Westbrook. But because Anthony Davis is going to be the one that's probably out, the guy I'm going to focus on here is LeBron James. It's a phenomenal matchup going against OKC. The Lakers don't blow anybody out. This team has been struggling on all cylinders.
Struggling on all cylinders. That's a new one.
Yeah, well, you see what I did there, Tom? Mm-hmm. But I do think that LeBron James at under 10K, especially after ceiling game that he saw last time. I think he's got a legit ceiling here. If Anthony Davis is out, even if he's in, I think he's still a phenomenal play. So I do like LeBron James either way. I would like him more if Anthony Davis sat. On the other side, we've seen the Lakers struggle defensively from top to bottom. This team is taking a back seat. I still predict them to win the West here, even though people are calling me crazy with the recent play, but I don't see anybody beating this Lakers team in a best of 7. You guys can attack me all you want. It's just my opinion here, even with their struggles.
I think you're crazy.
I don't think I'm crazy though, Tommy.
I think you're crazy. I think I think LeBron James is towards the back end now, and granted, I have a little bit of a bias, and B, I am not the world's biggest basketball guy here, folks. Like full disclosure on that. I am here to toss the questions. I'm trying to just launch up as many alley-oops for Javi to dunk as possible on this show and get you guys all of that info from Javi.
I am not a Lakers fan at all. I cannot stand the Lakers. It's just
I just think the Warriors. I just think the Warriors are too good, and we haven't even seen them hit a ceiling yet because of Klay Thompson.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right. Again, I've been wrong before. It wouldn't be the first time I'm wrong, but I do think in a best of 7 that this team doesn't lose. I honestly don't think LeBron, AD, if they're healthy, LeBron, AD, and Westbrook, if they're healthy, I don't see them losing a best of 7 in the West. It could be against the Warriors. I mean, the Warriors have been phenomenal, and that's without Klay Thompson, who's a force offensively and defensively. But again, I still don't think this team gets beat. So
what's been the deal with Anthony Davis lately? Is it that he's hurt? Has his play been slipping a little bit this season? Because I've seen some things about that.
I just think it's a lack of effort. I honestly do. They'll step it up once it comes playoff time. But as of right now, I just think they're just breezing by. I see people wanting to take me on bets. Listen, I'll take some bets. We can talk after. I don't mind. I'm a betting man here. But from this game, again, OKC, obviously not a great team either. A team that is very young and on the rebuild here. But I hate to say it, but I do like a little bit of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Sorry. I think SGA is fine. If you're going to play SGA, you're hoping this game stays somewhat close, and he has a ceiling against his Lakers team that struggled defensively. So I like a mini stack. I like going, if you're going to go LeBron or Westbrook, I like bringing it back with SGA. So I think that's a phenomenal play. I think it's going to be ultimate leverage. And you guys all know me. I am not an SGA truther, but I think he's totally fine today.
We got to talk a little bit of narrative here. I mean, Carmelo Anthony, my guy, at $4,400. Give you a revenge spot.
If AD's out
on the Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, if AD's out, I think Carmelo's fine. He's cheap enough. There's just a ton of value plays. They're asking me, do I really like SGA? No, I don't like SGA, but I think in this spot, I think he's fine. I think you can definitely play him, and he's going to be severely underowned. I don't think anyone's going to play SGA. So you're getting ultimate leverage with SGA today. Against the Lakers defense that's struggling, it's the Russell Westbrook effect. They pace up, and honestly, LeBron, AD, Westbrook, those guys are not playing defense right now. None of them. Even AD, who is a defensive player of the year and one of the best defenders in the NBA, he is not playing defense this year. So yes, I think SGA is perfectly fine. Easy B is asking me if I still like Reddish. Yeah, I still like Reddish, even though he's coming off the bench. I think it's totally fine. Someone's asking me Tatum or LBJ. Tatum. I think Dennis Schroeder might not play today. So I think Tatum's got a legit ceiling here, and he's got even more usage opening up if Schroeder's out. So just be on the lookout for that. We also need AD news. Like if AD's in, I definitely don't want to play LBJ, although it's perfectly fine. We did just get news that PJ Washington's out for the Hornets. So again, I was expecting that. So he was not part of my core here. Just running through some questions, Tom.
Yep. I mean, we've got plenty. We've got bags of time, absolute bags. We're around still almost an hour to lock, and we have plenty to get through. So we can hit as many questions from our friends in the Discord as possible, especially because we've only got 2 games to get through on the game-by-game slate still.
Yeah, for sure. But we got to wait for news for me to love the Lakers right now.
Mm-hmm.
We did
All
get
right.
news on the available Hornets. So there is quite a few people up from the G League. So they still got 10 guys there. But again, it's going to be Gordon Hayward, Cody Martin, Kelly Oubre, Miles Bridges. Those guys are going to get 40-plus minutes. And then the fifth spot will be a toss-up. But all right, Tom, sorry.
All good. There you go. Moving on to Detroit versus the Pelicans. Anyone else in Lakers versus Thunder before we move on?
We're good. Move on.
All right. Then I'm seeing J-Mo saying Hornets players available. Hayward, Martin, Oubre, Thor, Bridges, Bouknight, Jones, Carey, Lewis, Kabaka. So there we go.
Yep.
Detroit versus New Orleans, though, in this game, we are still, of course, anxiously awaiting the return of Zion Williamson. We have some time here.
Is that what you're talking about?
Fat Zion. Man, that man is on the Eddie Lacy diet right now. It is concerning.
Yeah, Fat Zion. I mean, he does not look healthy right now. And I don't mean that from an athletic standpoint. I mean from a health standpoint too. That guy, he ate the old Zion. But anyway, besides the point here, mm-hmm. I do think this game is sneaky, Tom. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say, didn't James Harden show up like ridiculously overweight, or at least looking like it?
Yeah.
And it turned out that he was fine.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's just something that happens with these guys. I don't know what it is. I've never been a guy who's been overweight. So,
bulking and cutting season. That's what it is. This game, 211 the total. It is the second lowest total on the board behind New York and Toronto. Mm-hmm. But you still like some value here in this spot. This is a sneaky game for you. Talk to me about it. Who are some of those guys?
Yeah, I think this game is extremely sneaky. Two bad defenses, two not great teams going against each other with some severely underpriced guys. Like Jonas Valanciunas is finally under his ridiculous price tag. I mean, he was over 9,000 for 3 straight games, and then he was 8,400 last game. Now he's down to 8,000 after a ceiling game. So I think J-Val is totally in play today. I think he's a phenomenal play here. I think he's another guy like Jared Allen who's not going to have a ton of ownership here. So, I mean, I think that J-Val is totally in play here. I prefer him over Brendan Ingram, but I think, if you want to get to Ingram, I'm fine with that. Again, Detroit, not the greatest team. And I love Cade Cunningham, the number 1 overall pick. I think he's got a huge ceiling today against this Pelicans team, which is, again, bottom 10 defensive efficiency team. We're seeing that he's picking up his scoring a little bit, which was where he was struggling. So he's shooting the ball quite a bit. I mean, he's got 20 or more shots in 2 straight games. And that was against Washington, and that's a very good defense now. He only had 33 DK points, but he had 21 points, and he didn't have any peripheral stats. But then the game before that, against OKC, 52 DK points. And OKC, I'm not saying they're better than the Pelicans, but defensively, both teams are very bad. So I think there is a legit ceiling on Cade Cunningham, and he is one of my sneakier plays today. I honestly don't think anyone's going to play him. I haven't looked at Kyle's updated ownership projections, but in the morning it was pretty low. So I think Cade Cunningham is a phenomenal play here. So I think a lot of people are not going to be playing him, and I'm going to be severely overweight on him. I mean, those are the guys I'm focusing on.
I absolutely love Cade Cunningham as a player, as a person. I think that he is going to start to make his way. He's clearly starting to adjust to the NBA game speed. He was obviously phenomenal at Oklahoma State, and you knew that he had that potential to be that kind of player at this level too. And I'm sure that he is going to get there. One of my good friends actually is a sports reporter out there in Oklahoma. He's had the pleasure of interviewing him a couple times. And before the draft, he was just raving about this kid, even before the tournament started last year. And he, of course, went off. But he was just raving about how smart this guy is, how good he is going to be at the next level. And I think that he's going to start to show that. And at $7,500 tonight, you can definitely spend more on a lot of other players that more people are going to have in their lineup. And he has the potential to go off and be one of those big slate breakers for you.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And again, his biggest issue, this guy was not scoring, and he was still hitting like 30, 40 DK points. Now he's actually scoring. I think the ceiling's through the roof in such a great matchup. So I like him.
By the way, it is also, of course, with the Pistons playing tonight. Tonight is a fade Detroit night. The Pistons and the Red Wings play on the same night. Take their opponent's money line. Just do your welcome there.
Is that a thing, Tom?
That is a very real trend my friends and I made up, but is actually cashed to the positive for us over the last year and a half.
Interesting. What is the I guess the record behind that?
The record this year, I believe it's 4-2 for you're up 2.5 units right now. Since last year when we started doing it, we're up over 10 units.
Interesting. I did not know that, but I mean, that's from a betting standpoint. Play Cade Cunningham tonight, though.
Yes, play Cade Cunningham. And just out of curiosity, because we have a little time here, what is your feeling on Zion? We haven't gotten to see him a whole lot over the last 2 years. He's been struggling with injuries. Do you think he can ever live up to that hype that people bestowed on him before the draft?
Listen, I was more on Zion than most. I wouldn't say he was sneaky because of where he was drafted at, but I don't think he's panned out really well. I mean, he's got health problems. Now he's got overweight problems. I'm a little concerned about Zion in his future, but I think he's still got the potential there. We got to give him a chance. One more year at least.
Yeah, I'd agree. We need to see him play a full season and actually be healthy first.
Yeah, for sure.
The last game on the slate here, it is Boston versus Phoenix. Excuse my terrible accent there. 213.5 is the total. The game sits at -4 in favor of the Suns. But Booker out, Brown out, Kaminsky out. Who are you liking in this spot?
Yeah, and DeAndre Ayton, he's questionable. So this is how I'm building today, guys. I have about 6 or 7 of my 10 lineups with JaVale McGee in there. If JaVale McGee, if Aiden's out, obviously I'm going to ride with McGee. I think he's got a legit ceiling. There's no Kaminsky behind him. He's going to get some big minutes. I know there's he's got some health issues where he can't play massive minutes, but yeah, I like JaVale McGee. I like building as if he is going to be a starter today. I think build as if he's out. And here's how I do it too. I would put him in the utility spot. If he is out, you can pivot to Josh Richardson. Josh Richardson, even if Schroeder's in, could be a solid play. I don't think he'll be on a GPP winning lineup, but there's potential for him to have a safer floor if Schroeder's out. So it's $100 more to go from McGee to Richardson. So keep that in mind. I would leave that open, but build as if Aiden is out and then pivot accordingly.
All right. Well, that's going to run us through the entire game.
Not done.
Here.
Not done.
Not
nope,
done. Not done.
Sorry. No, I think Jason Tatum is a phenomenal play today. Phenomenal spend up. We've seen him pick up his game with all the injuries behind him too. I think he's great. And then Chris Paul. Chris Paul is a great play. I am a little worried about the matchup he'll see defensively, but I think he's got a legit ceiling here today. So Chris Paul and Tatum are going to be 2 guys that I'm going to be heavily exposed to with JaVale McGee. Now I'm done, Tom. Back to you.
Okay, well, like I was saying, that ends the lineups for game by game. Let's talk a little bit. Do you have a sexy 6? Do you have some must-haves for us here tonight?
Oh, man, I do have the sexy 6. Hold on. Let me see if there's any questions. So somebody's asking me, who do I love the most from that game? So for me, for Charlotte and Sacramento, let me go back to this. Again, I understand that I understand if you want to go underweight because it's going to be over-owned. But again, I just think it's super risky. Sometimes an over-owned game, it doesn't matter. Like it could potentially be a good chalk. We've seen it before. And I think 2-3 pieces from this game could be optimal here. So I want to focus on Kelly Oubre. That's the guy that I love from the Charlotte Hornets side. And then from the other side, I think Halliburton is an essential piece. And then going Tristan Thompson or Len, I think either is fine. But for me, I do want to play one of those two because I think they're going to have a great matchup against here. I mean, we're seeing news that Vernon Carey Jr., who I thought was a football player, right? I'm just kidding. But he is a football player, Vernon Carey. He's starting today at center for the Hornets. He could get some big minutes here, but he's a guy that I won't have too much exposure to. So yeah, that's what I'm focusing on. And Joe's like, did I miss a shirt? Yeah, Joe, you missed the whole game by game. Where you at, bro? Come on, man.
He'll have to go on replay and pick it up.
Yeah, go on replay. Let me see some questions before we go back. Sorry, and then I'll tell you my sexy six. See here. So I see, who do I love the most from the game? So again, it's Halliburton for me, and Oubre are my main pieces that I like. Let's see what else. 5,600 guard or under. Where are you going? So let's see, Anthony. 5,600. It's a tough spot, Tony. Sep. I'd say Graham and then upgrade elsewhere. So Devontae Graham is probably who I'd go. Let's see here. Downstream, Vernon or Len with Terrence Davis or Boucher and Davion. Boucher and Davion is my preference. All right, now I'm ready. Sexy six, right? Is that what you're asking?
Yep, sexy six. Who do you like?
Yeah, so sexy six today. I'm trying to look through my exposures and who I have the most exposure to today. I'm gonna have to say it's I'm gonna go with Halliburton and Oubre from the first game. I love them a lot. Tatum and Paul are two other pieces I like. Again, those guys that should take up most of your salary. Again, if you want to get Giannis, again, I don't hate that at all. I'm playing as if Aiden is out, so JaVale McGee is part of my sexy six. And then I guess the last piece would be a guy like Terrence Davis. I think Terrence Davis is severely underpriced here. So that's who I like here. Again, I like Boucher a lot. I think he's going to be chalky. Potentially, he could fail us here. We know that Nurse doesn't like playing him at all. But yeah, what else you got for me, Tommy?
Well, looking here on FTN Daily, our wonderful website, looks like Kyle Murray, one of his favorite players of the night is Cody Martin. What do you think about Cody Martin tonight?
Yeah, I think Cody Martin is a fantastic play. He's going to be another guy that's going to get 40-plus minutes here. You know who else likes him? Our boy Tenacious D. Jones, right? So I think
Tenacious Kidney Jones.
Tenacious Kidney Jones, that's right. Poor guy. Listen, poor guy. I can't imagine. Yeah. But I think that he's a phenomenal play, and I think he's underpriced. So like 5,700 on DK with the minutes he's going to get, he's fine. I'm just worried about his ceiling a little bit. I think Oubre has a higher ceiling, so that's why I like him more here in this spot more than the other guys. So,
and a quick reminder, like I said, was pulling that off of Kyle Murray's favorite guys from the Murray model, which is an article you can check out on FTN Daily right now. And if you are struggling with NBA DFS to start this year, check out FTNDaily.com. Our NBA package includes a state-of-the-art optimizer that covers every slate every day. I've got it open right now. It is awesome. Even someone like me can figure out how to use it. A fantastic tool for you. We've got proprietary player and ownership projections from Kyle Murray and Alex Blickel, NBA on-off splits, and advanced DVP tools. The infamous FTN Daily NBA Premium Discord channel where Javi is pulling these questions and saving us from the dreaded dead air right now. And of course, rankings from Fast Eddie Fear and Zach Graham, Kawhisenberg himself every single day. Pricing starts at $49.99 per month. Use the code FTNTV. That's FTNTV. You can see it right there at the bottom of the screen on the ticker moving across for 15% off every month. To repeat, code FTNTV equals 15% off every single month of your subscription. What are you waiting for? If you guys are watching us on Twitter, on the YouTube right now, why wait another day? You're already here looking for great fantasy advice. You've come in on an off day where David's not here, and so you have to deal with me, but you've still got the man, Javi. Come on, get a subscription. You won't be sorry.
Damn, I can't believe you memorized all that, Tom. Good for you, man. That's a great memory there.
Oh, no, it's the art of reading off a prompter. That's all it is.
Dang, man, you ratted me out. I was trying to give you some props here. Somebody's asking ABC, so Giannis over Luka? Yeah, for sure.
All right. Where else do we
SGA
got?
or Joval? I'm going to go SGA. I mean, sorry, Joval. I apologize. Joval. I do like SGA though, unfortunately, but I also think that you can, if you want to go SGA, maybe drop it down to Cade Cunningham. I love Cade Cunningham. So Thomas is going to be a man of the people soon with all these streams. Look at that, Tom. You're getting some props here.
What can I say? I mean, it's like Tom Brady. He had a shot. He came in. The starter went down. The backup came in. That's how he got his break. You got to make the most of it. You got to be ready when they call on you.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. I'll start calling you Tom Brady. That's fine if you want that. If that's what you want. Yeah. Somebody was asking about Vernon Carey. Of course, the basketball player. He is not confirmed starting, but he is projected to start here, and he's projecting fairly well. If you pull up the FTN Daily Optimizer, I'm curious where he is projecting here. Interesting. Sorry. Go ahead, Tom. Any other questions I'm missing here while I pull up the Optimizer?
Let's take a hop into the Discord. JJ Frick wants to know, who's your favorite guy? 4,400 for SGTD?
Say that again. Favorite guy for shooting guard. Favorite guy 4,400 for shooting guard. TD. I'm not sure what he means by that.
Maybe today.
Yeah. Oh, maybe Terrence Davis is probably the guy I like.
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't Armani Brooks popping? I think it's matchup, really. I don't hate him today. I think he's perfectly fine, but he's not a guy that I'm really focusing on here. Let's see. Interesting. I'm searching here using the FTN Optimizer. Cade Cunningham is going to be 5% owned according to Kyle. Woo.
All right. That's a good sleeper pick right there.
That is a great sleeper pick. And you like him too because of his college days.
Yep. He is one of my favorite players, although, of course, not quite as high on my list as another guy there, Jeremy Grant.
Yep. I'm a big Jeremy Grant stan, I guess you can say. But yeah, he had a great year last year. I thought he was going to win comeback player of the year, and he didn't. So
he should have. I'm just always going to be big on the Syracuse guys, but it's been so long since we've had the days of those guys that go on to the NBA, like the Jeremy Grants, like the Hakeem Warwicks, of course, Rakeem Christmas never got a shot, but he really deserved it.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see who Kyle's projecting today to be the over-owned play. So Miles Bridges, Gordon Hayward, Josh Hart, Cody Martin, Kelly Oubre, Giannis. So Giannis is getting ownership. Interesting. I didn't think he would.
Alan wants to know, is Nick Richards still out?
Yes. Nick Richards is still out.
Rat Pack is looking for some Lakers lineup news. Let's see if we can find anything for him.
Not yet, Rat Pack. Can you get rid of those jerseys for I hate watching this and seeing the Cowgirls. Listen, I know you're an Eagles fan, Sep. But yeah, I'm sorry, your Eagles stink. Interesting.
I got a surprise early Christmas present. My parents got me a Marc-Andre Fleury jersey, so
ooh,
I can finally rep the Vegas Golden Knights.
Flower power, but he's not on the team anymore. Isn't he on Chicago now?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. He means so much to that team. That's one of those guys that it doesn't matter when you get the jersey. It's always a good call.
Yeah.
I've actually got a Leonard one on the way, though.
Oh, yeah? Robin?
Yeah.
Robin
I love
Leonard?
that guy.
Cool. I think we'll see. We'll take some more questions for 5 more minutes, and then we'll get out of here. I'll be in Discord until lock. Let's see if there's anything else. Why is Chris Middleton ownership so high? I have no idea. Giannis is getting a ton of ownership too, which is surprising, but I just think he's too cheap with the ceiling he brings here. I mentioned I liked Anthony Edwards. He is showing up as under 10% owned today. Another sneaky play here. Interesting. I see Chris Middleton at 9.5% projection. So I'm curious what you're seeing, DeBiz.
P-Buck wants to know Davion and Boucher or Davis and Bailey. Might mean Bagley.
Yeah, maybe Bagley. Yeah, I'd go Davion and Boucher. That's what I would go. Interesting.
Herm said, what about Marcus Smart if Schroeder's out?
Yeah, I mean, he's an interesting play because, again, they're not going to have Jaylen Brown here, plus no Schroeder. I mean, it's going to be basically Jason Tatum, Al Horford, Time Lord, Robert Williams, and then Marcus Smart. He takes, I think, the usage is a bump for Marcus Smart, but not a guy that I usually like to play on DFS. I think he's fine on FanDuel where you get extra points for steals and blocks, but even on DraftKings, his ceiling does go up a little bit. So I don't hate it. Giannis is at the top of Alex's pace-up plays for what it's worth. Yeah, I like Giannis, Brockness monster. Good hit yesterday, my friend. I hate it, but I love it.
The Thunder, by the way, 2-0 against the Lakers this season. Do you think they can make it 3-0 tonight?
No. I do not think so. Is that real? They're 2-0 for real?
That's real.
God. I got to change my Lakers championship. They can't even win a best of 7 against the Thunder, right? So
they are, yeah. I mean, I'm very anti-Lakers.
What's the Vegas lines on the Lakers to win the championship right now?
Let us find out. Makes for great TV, but I'm just going to pull that up on Circa because they always have phenomenal futures.
Yeah, make sure you guys smash that like button.
Yeah, facts. Seriously, hit us with the likes. It helps a ton for the show, for the algorithm, for us to keep the lights on here and to keep bringing you all of this great content. You can get the Lakers at 13-1 right now.
Oof, man, I put 100 on that. Let's go.
I wanted to take the Warriors at a similar price. I think they were down to 10-1 a couple weeks ago before they really started popping off, and I missed the boat.
Where are the Heat at? Give me the Heat.
Let's take a look in here.
They've been struggling, but that's because Jimmy Butler and Bam are both out. So,
yeah, it's a long season, and that's the other thing with the NBA that it's really you just have to make the playoffs. They're also 13-1.
Give me the Heat and Lakers, baby. Throw 100 on both.
One of my friends had to take it on the Heat a couple years ago when they got real close.
Yeah.
I stood to make some very nice money on that. It was unfortunate it didn't pan out.
Jokic for MVP. I'm asking for your sport. Yeah, I don't hate that. I think it's fine. Dello, my fellow esports compadre.
Have you played the new Warzone map yet?
No, I heard it's terrible though.
Really?
It wasn't good.
I played it for the first time last night. I hopped on with a couple of my buddies. We had a fun time. It's impressively huge.
Yeah. I heard it wasn't great. I'm all about that Halo life. I'll be getting that soon.
I mean, it's free. Multiplayer's free. I got to play the campaign on that, though.
Oh, look at you, Dello. I'm going to be getting an apology from you soon.
I'll have to hop.
No Houston.
I'll have to hop on Halo with you. Yeah, still no Houston lineup. PJ Washington, we already saw he is ruled out.
8,600 for you, Fresh Dog. Let's see. Forward position, 8,600. Freshie, happy anniversary to you. I hope you're not going to get divorced for making an NBA lineup, by the way.
All right. Still no Houston Rockets lineup news.
All right. I think we can head out. I'll hop onto Discord. I do have my my holiday dinner tonight for my work, but that will not be till later. So I'll be here till lock in a little bit after. So
all right,
go, Tommy.
Well, there we go. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. It has been a pleasure filling in for David Jones with you, Javi. It's great as always speaking with you. We hope that we helped some guys hopefully make some money on these lineups tonight. And a reminder one more time. be sure to use the promo code FTNTV for 15% off every month. Any of our packages. It is a great deal. Pricing starts at $49.99 a month right now. For the NBA package, you get access to the optimizer. You get access to the wonderful Discord channel, on-off splits, ownership projections, rankings from Fast Eddie and Kawhisenberg, and so much more. Guys, go get your subscription today if you haven't already. And in the meantime, I guess we will see you out on the court here, Javi. You have a good one. Enjoy your holiday dinner tonight, and we will be back at you guys tomorrow.